I mean, one of the best ways, or, there's other factors as well. For instance, one of the guidelines for dating is that when you date somebody, they're going to treat you rather well, but you really want to observe how they treat other people, especially like service people, like waiters, waitresses, and the guys who park the cars. Because if the person you're with is somehow treats those people not so great, that's how they're eventually going to treat you. That's an important guideline to be aware of.
That's a very good thought. I never thought about that aspect. I always thought that you should meet somebody's friends and see who they are.
Well, certainly, sure. That's a part of it too. But I am suggesting that knowing those 7 defining qualities is very important. And here's why. Here's an example of why it's important. It's actually possible for a person to fall in love with a person ultimately they find that they don't like.
Really? Why
Yeah.
is that? How does that work?
Well, it often works. It's usually the extrovert in a relationship that can do that. I'll tell you an example about a real client. He was the extrovert. She was the introvert. He wined her and dined her for about, 6 to 8 months or something like that. He literally fell in love with her. Okay. Until he eventually went by her apartment. And so he was kind of in a bind because he was kind of a neat freak and she had a pigsty. And he realized that he could never live with this person. So here he was in love with this person that he suddenly realized he really couldn't live with.
But
because
in the 6 months that they were...
He never had gone by. That's right.
That says something.
Yeah.
That's a flag, I would think. How come?
That is a big flag, sure. Yeah. But I'm just saying that I'm saying it's possible. I don't know what the frequency of it is, but it is possible to actually fall in love with a person that you ultimately won't like, or that you find out later they're not such a nice person. They treat other people not so nice. So kindness is a very important trait to be looking for.
Exactly. So how long do you think that the honeymoon phase lasts in a relationship?
It depends on the relationship. I have a client. This is an interesting thing. I have a client who found a boyfriend. They had a 5-year honeymoon. And actually, when the honeymoon was over, I actually helped both of them to get into that next stage, which is known as the plateau stage. But when they first met, and they really clicked, and they got a great chemistry, he told her that he would not marry her for 10 years because he had really gotten burned financially by his first wife. Guess what? She hung in there. They got married like 3 weeks ago.
They've been dating for 10 years?
Well, they've been living together for about 6 years. But after 10 years, he married her.
That's amazing. I don't think I'd last 10 years. Well,
they have an amazing chemistry.
I guess, like you were saying, it all depends on the relationship.
Yes, it all depends. You have to evaluate each one on its own merits. This is not one size fits all, but the concept in the book Relationship Strategies really explains these things. And see, really, we're attracted to our natural opposite. And stop to think about it, Lauren, just for a moment. If we weren't attracted to our natural opposite, how could the relationship be complementary? See, both people who are opposite bring something different to the relationship.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, that's the yin and yang theory.
It sure is the yin and yes, exactly. Exactly. I'm basically an introvert. Okay. maybe 70%. My wife is the extrovert. And so she brings things to the relationship that I don't. And I bring things to the relationship that she doesn't. Right? In fact, I'll give you an example of the importance of separate interests. My wife is incidentally, we just celebrated 23 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's wonderful.
I think knowing this relationship strategy stuff really helps.
So
it really helps. I'm living proof of it.
You personally.
Absolutely. But so for our anniversary one time, she had studied in art school, and she was working in retail. I bought her a really nice easel, and so she started taking art lessons, and the art teacher asked her to take over the class, which she did. So ultimately, she transitioned into basically being a full-time art teacher. All right? By that time, I'm practicing hypnotherapy, and one day she said, "Mark, why don't you do a canvas?" And to me, that was a red flag, because that's her territory. I want to stay out of her territory. So I have photography, I have gardening, I have fly fishing. Okay? So I, thanked her, but I said no thanks, because
you just didn't want to get into her territory, even though
absolutely, no, that's her thing.
Yeah.
She is the artist. She's wonderful with color, and sometimes she asks. It's funny. Sometimes she asks me, "Well, what do you think of this color for one of the bedrooms?" I say, "You are the artist. I trust you."
Yeah. Well, this is so fascinating, and I know we could go on and on forever.
Yes.
And I'm sorry we didn't get to so many other things. Your show that's on the.
Yeah, I actually have a TV show.
Hypnosis Motivation, but I just want to give out your website so that people, before we go off air, that people can find out all this information about you, about your show.
Okay.
It's called Marc's Book Club Show on the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, the Mental Bank program, and they can go to your website.
That's another one, right?
That's another one. There's two.
There's two.
So your website.
The website is hypnosis.edu.
Okay, so people can contact you at that website.
Well, they can do that, or and once you get on that site, there'll be a place to click that says HMI Web TV, and if you scroll down after the screen comes up, there's a schedule of when those shows are. Okay. Mine is called the Book Club.
The Book Club. Okay.
Right. Or they can go to my website, which is Marc Gravelle, MarcGravelle, as in Victor, ELLE.com.
Great, Marc. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me, Lauren.
It was so great.